So I get this comment on a video where I talked about how crazy it is to live without a thyroid. And there's so much wrong with this that I want to go to make a video on its own about it, because I don't want anyone that might be suffering post-thyroidectomy, or you have your thyroid and you're really struggling, to see a comment like this and be discouraged. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify the issues I have with a comment like this. So let's start off with the first part. Millions of people rely on meds to stay alive every day. That isn't thyroid meds. Yes, this is true. And that's a problem, actually. Here in America, we have one of the worst healthcare systems amongst all industrialized countries. We have more people on medication. We have people that are paying more for insurance, for medical procedures, for their medications. We have more people dying from lifestyle-related diseases. Millions of people needing to rely on medications to stay alive is not normal. And listen, some people need it. There's situations and circumstances where there's no way around it. And me, I don't have a thyroid, so I need it to stay alive. But saying, hey, you shouldn't complain because everyone else is in a bad situation like you is crazy. Okay, on to the next part. No disrespect meant, but I don't see why people are so upset about a tiny, tiny thyroid pill. I don't understand where the anger is directed at. That tiny, tiny thyroid pill, that's stagnant, that releases, most of you guys are only utilizing T4 medication, is meant to take the place of an adaptive, intelligent, constantly communicating organ that affects every single cell in the body. That thyroid gland makes primarily T4 and T3. Now, there's millions of Americans that have a genetic issue where they might not convert T4 to T3 efficiently. And when you get that thyroid removed, you don't have that backup thyroid gland to make up for that. So if you don't make enough T4 to T3 and you have a healthy thyroid and your body's like, oh, we need more T3, the thyroid gland will make up more to make up for what's going on. You don't have that when you lose your thyroid. So there's so many post-thyroidectomy patients that are struggling because T4 to T3 conversion issues, they don't have a thyroid, and now the doctor will only give them T4. That's a problem. Not only that, but we're all bio-individuals. When most doctors will only do T4 and not even optimize it to be at optimal ranges within a medical range, that's a problem. When we have natural desiccated thyroid hormone, we have liothyronine, we have levothyroxine, we have cytomel, we have tyrosine, and all people are given as an option is T4, levothyroxine, that's a problem. A tiny pill can never fully take over what a thyroid gland can do, especially optimally, but we have the best option available to us, which is the thyroid medication. Okay? It's a necessary evil. We need it. We have it, and it can really be beneficial, but if it's not being done the right way, especially for someone post-thyroidectomy, and they keep finding themselves in doctor's offices where they're not being heard and they're not given options, this is a problem. And finally, I don't understand where the anger is directed at. You could have refused surgery. You're the consumer. Okay, I actually agree with this somewhat. When you have all of your options laid out for you, when you have the ability to make a decision not out of fear, then you can make an informed decision. But most people don't get that option. When I was 19 years old, I sat in a doctor's office. I was told I had thyroid cancer and I needed to get it out immediately. I was not given any other option besides that. And that's still happening today. There are doctors that are doing RFA. There are doctors that are doing partial thyroidectomy, and there's doctors that are doing active surveillance. You have to fit certain criteria for that. But a lot of people have to travel to see these doctors. So not only is there the lack of education and the lack of being informed of options, but what about the financial aspect of it? Not everyone is in that position where they're given all of these resources and all of this access. So after losing a thyroid, and you make a quick decision because you're scared and the doctor's saying, this is it, this is what it is, and you lose your thyroid, and now you start learning because now there's more options on social media, there's more education that you can get, and you realize that things could have been done differently. They can be angry at whoever they want to be angry at. They can be angry at their doctor for not giving them options. They can be angry at the system for it not being there. They can be angry at whatever, but the healing process post-thyroidectomy is going to look different for everyone. There might be physical healing. There might be mental healing. There might be emotional healing. All of those things are valid and important. And in the end, I do what I do. So I can make sure that anyone that's living with a thyroid can understand two different things. You should not be suffering post-thyroidectomy. And number two, you have to be an active participant in your healthcare. You got to know your labs. You got to know your options. You got to create a team around you that can support you so that you can be optimal long term. And you've got to heal your body. You got to heal it in a holistic, functional way so that you can be well optimally. But the comment.